morning is the midweek edition of your breakfast show on Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Weber, your host on the program. And on today's program, we are looking at newspaper review, what the papers are saying, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's go there. Leadership's leading story today, this Wednesday, May 28, says second anniversary, North Kudos for Tinubu on security. Of course, May 29, we make it clock 2 years of the present administration in power. And leadership says second anniversary, North Kudos for Tinubu on security. Concerns over 7 attacks on military formations in 5 months. Fight against insurgency yielding results. Stakeholders, several terrorists eliminated, arms recovered. Leading story today to clock Tinubu's 2 years anniversary. No kudos for Tinubu on security. Beneath that leading story, we have pictures of Children's Day celebrated nationwide yesterday across Nigeria. Yesterday was Children's Day, the future of Nigeria. Still on leadership, Children's Day, federal government states pledge protection, better future. Children's Day, federal government states pledge protection, better future. Amadu Ali's son jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy fraud. Amadu Ali is the son of Amadu Ali was once the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, and report says today that his son has been jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy fraud. Afenifere appoints Olufalaye as NEC chairman. Benue to start juice production by August, and that takes us towards the masthead of leadership. NEC stalemate over PDP national scribe. From there, we move to the business story today on the business boss of leadership. Equity foreign domestic transactions dropped by 633.47 billion naira in April. Equity foreign domestic transactions dropped by 633.47 billion naira in April. That takes us to the story about the masthead of leadership. Examination malpractice now attracts 3-year ban. Tinubu seeks NAS approval for $21.5 billion loan, other borrowings. This is a leading story in other papers we have on our lineup today. And of course, it's also on the cover of Leadership newspaper. Tinubu seeks NAS approval for $21.5 billion loan, other borrowings. From that note, we move to the page 3 of Leadership, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on global health funding and Nigeria's dilemma. Global health funding and Nigeria's dilemma. Let's take some snippets from that leading story. At the ongoing 78th World Health Assembly in Geneva, the Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, disclosed that the organization is facing a salary gap of more than $600 million for the next biennium. He stated that people in at least 70 countries are missing out on treatment. Health facilities have closed, health workers have lost their jobs, and individuals are facing increased out-of-pocket health spending due to global funding cuts. WHO's Independent Oversight and Advisory Committee reported that the exit of U.S. funds had affected 23.8 million people worldwide, leading to the closure or reduction of services in over 2,600 health facilities. Towards the conclusion, he says, until deliberate, sustained, and evidence-based efforts are made to confront the structural and systemic issues undermining the nation's healthcare system, Nigeria will continue to record poor health outcomes. Addressing the social determinants of health, such as education, income, housing, and environmental quality, is essential to improving public health and reducing entrenched disparities. As from today's stand in Leadership newspaper, global health funding and Nigeria's dilemma. From our stand, we move to the back page of the paper, where we have Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. Today, Baruwa is writing on the Special Seats Bill, a strategic approach to inclusive governance. the special seats bill, a strategic approach to inclusive governance. We'll just take quote from the Wednesday column. The reserve seats bill represents a significant step toward deepening democratic inclusion and promoting equity in political representation. Historically, Nigeria's constitutional development has not been inclusive of women. The National Gender Policy (NGP) meant to address the disparity lacks a robust legal framework, functioning primarily as a statement of intent. Despite numerous efforts by women's groups to introduce bills and policies aimed at enforcing affirmative action, these initiatives have encountered significant resistance from the largely male-dominated parliament. Of course, this is a good one, the special seats bill, a strategic approach to inclusive governance, and of course that includes women. A bill to ensure that some seats are reserved for women in Nigeria's National Assembly. That is a good one, and it's coming from that's the Wednesday column today from Olufunke Barua. Before we leave the back page, let's see what Ghana Must Go is saying on the human side. Federal government says Nigeria needs $100 billion annually to hit 2050 GDP target. And guess what Ghana Must Go replies? It's so funny. It says plus or minus padding. That's a good one. It's on that note we conclude review of front headline stories, inside page and the back page of Leadership newspaper this Wednesday. For more, don't forget to log into the website of Vanguard newspaper. Moving ahead, we have Nigerian Tribune on our lineup. And Nigerian Tribune says Tinubu right now seeks $21.5 billion external loan, 758 billion naira pension bond. Leading story on today's Nigerian Tribune. SPDP chairman's son accomplice jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy scam. That same story on Leadership newspaper also graced the cover of Nigerian Tribune this Wednesday. SPDP chairman's son accomplice jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy scam. One dies, many trapped in Ikorodu building collapse. Muslims to observe Eid-el-Kabir Friday, June 6. 1.2 million Nigerians displaced by floods in 2024, coming from NEMA. And we move over to the second leading story on the cover of Nigerian Tribune this Wednesday. APC plotting one-party rule out of fear of 2027 defeat. PDP NEC. We will never succumb to intimidation, exclusion. Governors. NEC to discuss National Secretary position June 30. I won't attend PDP meetings until Wike autumn orders are expelled. Coming from Lamido, Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State. He says, I won't attend PDP meetings until Wike autumn orders are expelled. Of course, that means there's no end in sight to the crisis bedeviling the once ruling PDP party. Truth for ISWAP attack in Mate, keys cause recover explosives. The story continues on page 13 of Nigerian Tribune. Truth for ISWAP attack in Mate, keys cause recover explosives. From that angle, we move to the stories about the masthead of Nigerian Tribune. Federal government arrests 3-year ban on students caught in exam malpractices. JAMB, WAEC, NECO to ban centers involved in exam fraud. The story continues on page 16 of Nigerian Tribune. It's also the same story gracing the masthead of Leadership, just like in Nigerian Tribune. Federal government arrests 3-year ban on students caught in exam malpractices. JAMB, WAEC, NECO to ban centers involved in exam fraud. Lastly, on the cover of Nigerian Tribune, INEC still recognizes Anyanwu as PDP National Secretary. Report. Committee urges PDP to follow due process on Southeast replacement demand. The story runs on page 21 of Nigerian Tribune. And on that note, we conclude review of front headline stories on Nigerian Tribune this Wednesday. Don't forget to log into the website of Nigerian Tribune for continuation of those headline stories. We head up to Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard also has a story on this impending borrowing by the federal government. It says debt helps for 180 trillion naira as Tinubu seeks fresh 34.15 trillion naira loans. Leading story on Vanguard newspaper this Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Debt has for 180 trillion naira as Tinubu seeks fresh 34.5 trillion naira loans. It says federal government's debt service to revenue deteriorates to 131%. Experts urge caution on further borrowing. Leading story on Vanguard this Wednesday. Debt heads for 180 trillion naira as Tinubu seeks fresh 34.15 trillion naira loans. Federal government's debt service to revenue deteriorates to 131%. Experts urge caution on further borrowing. That is the leading story and only story today on the cover of Vanguard, because they have a wraparound just beneath that one. That's so leading story. That also concludes that. As we move to the next paper, we have on our lineup, and that is the Punch. Punch, just like Vanguard, also has a wraparound advert on its cover. However, it's still talking about the fresh impending borrowing. It says fresh $24 billion borrowing may balloon Nigeria's debts to 183 trillion naira. Now set to approve Tinubu's loan request. Foreign debt nears $70 billion. Economists worry over high debt servicing. Kicker to that leading story. Fresh $24 billion borrowing may balloon Nigeria's debt to 183 trillion naira. Now set to approve Tinubu's loan request. Foreign debt near $70 billion. Economists worry over high debt servicing. We move to the stories just beside the masthead of the Punch. PDP neck under pressure as INEC validates Wike-backed secretary. PDP neck under pressure as INEC validates Wike-backed secretary. NFIU probes 48 billion naira suspicious transfers to Dubai, Hong Kong. The story continues on page 7 of the Punch. NFIU probes 48 billion naira suspicious transfers to Dubai, Hong Kong. With that, we also conclude the review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper this Wednesday. Don't forget to log into the website of the Punch for continuation of those headline stories, inside stories, and the editorial. Now we move over to the last paper we have on our lineup, and that is THISDAY. THISDAY says PDP neg, Tinubu's negligence, abdication of constitutional duties, buoying terrorism. PDP neg, Tinubu's negligence, abdication of constitutional duties, buoying terrorism. Says policy inconsistency, wholesale corruption, massive treasury looting, budget padding, public funds diversion, responsible for loss of investor confidence. The first discussions on Anyanwu to next NEC meeting on June 30. Lamido wants collapse of party may breed emperor as president. Kickers to the leading story on this day. This day is on PDP NEC, which had yesterday. It says Tinubu's negligence, abdication of constitutional duties, buoying terrorism. Says policy inconsistency, wholesale corruption, massive treasury looting, budget padding, public funds diversion, responsible for loss of investor confidence. The first discussions on Anyanwu to next NEC meeting on June 30. Lamido wants collapse of party may breed emperor as president. Above that, we have June 12. Kola Abiola demands recognition for persons murdered, jailed by Abacha. The story continues on the cover of THISDAY, but however continues on page 9 of the paper. June 12, Kola Abiola demands recognition for persons murdered by Abacha. Kola Abiola is the son of the late MKO Abiola. From there, we move to the story just above the masthead of THISDAY. Tinubu seeks National Assembly's approval for fresh $23.5 billion, 2.265 billion euro, 15 billion yen, and 757.9 billion naira loans. Debt ruling plan outlines external borrowing for federal subnational governments for over 2 years. Finance Ministry clarifies. Says debt ruling plan does not equate to automatic increase in the nation's debt burden. Leading story today on the cover of THISDAY newspaper, second leading story actually. Don't forget to log into the website of THISDAY newspaper at www.thisdaylive.com for continuation of these stories. So, our viewers, is on this note we conclude today's newspaper review in the program Inside Nigeria for today, Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Tomorrow, Thursday, is another day for another fresh episode of the program. My name is Winifred Igwe, but don't forget to join us then and also join us for News on the Hour on this station. Thanks once again.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the